You know, he coming behind his jab, he throwing straight punches, he going to the body, going in up and down. He just got to tighten up a little bit on his defense, but other than that, man, he good. He ready for Canelo. There you go. There you go.
Terence Crawford is looking for as much help as possible for his fight against Canelo Alvarez in September. Yesterday, he was at the Benavidez vs. David Morrell press conference, not as a spectator, but for a training session with David Benavidez after the conference.
Go ahead.
After getting some lessons from Floyd Mayweather a week ago, Terence Crawford has now turned to someone who has been involved in talks about fighting Canelo Alvarez for years. Aside from Benavidez, who defeated Canelo some years back, David Benavidez seems to have the deepest knowledge of him. The Mexican monster has always been confident that he would beat Canelo if they ever fought in the ring.
Fight luck with Benavidez. Who do you favor?
I still got it at 50-50. Benavidez good.
However, Canelo Alvarez has always turned him down. Now, Terence Crawford has decided to meet David Benavidez as he prepares for his fight against Canelo. They spent a good time discussing Canelo's boxing style and technique before sharing their thoughts on his matchup. David Benavidez has long been known as a tough competitor in boxing, earning the Boogeyman nickname for his dominance in the ring.
You know, first of all, I try to shake his hand. You know what I mean? I try to be cool. Because last press conference, you know, we did this talking, but then in the middle, after, we know he was cordial, we were shaking hands and stuff, so. No, I was just expecting the same thing.
However, his upcoming fight against David Morrell is more than just another match. It's personal. Scheduled for February 1st at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, this highly anticipated showdown has been building for years, with Morrell constantly calling out Benavidez. Morrell, who is undefeated with a 11 knockouts record and 9 knockouts, is confident he can defeat the WBC interim champion. But Benavidez is focused on more than just winning.
I'm focused 100% on this fight. Look, I don't like the way he talks, and I'm not in this position because of any.
Canelo Alvarez has never been convinced that Terence Crawford could handle the fight because he is smaller and would likely rely on an elusive game plan. He's a good fighter, I know that, Alvarez said about Crawford. Thinks he can do everything, but I think he knows it's a little different at 154. Good fighter, but that's why there are weight classes. I like Terence Crawford and his style. It's just different. You could see that in his fight against Madov. It's just different.
Position, if he wants to work with me, is in my way, not in their way.
What was
I don't need it.
What didn't you like about how he approached? Like, what?
It's not that.
Alvarez suggested that it might be best to wait a little longer before facing unbeaten former 168-pound title holder David Benavidez, as Benavidez is focused on fighting the winner of the undisputed light heavyweight title match between unbeaten Russians Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev on August 12 in Saudi Arabia. People want to see that fight, they'll have to pay, Alvarez said. He is also interested in fighting in Japan, where one of the fighters he admires most, former featherweight champion Oscar Larios of Mexico, fought many times.
It's not the way to approach. It's not the way to approach to me. Look, I respect everybody and I respect Turkey, but look, if he wants...
I like to go fight by fight, but I would definitely like to have the experience of fighting in Japan, Alvarez said. I grew up watching Jorge Linares. He went to Japan many times, and I really want to go there and have that experience. As for Saudi Arabia, it is unclear if he will ever fight there, as Canelo is unhappy with the Boxing Federation, including Alalshikh, for his approach toward him.
Yo no estoy pidiendo esa pelea. Al final
Claro que no. La quiero para mi hijo, por favor.
Sí, no, aquí yo creo que Crawford needs to fight Teofimo first.
According to reports, Alvarez might finally be looking to face David Benavidez in the near future, but he has demanded a massive $200 million for the fight. Turkey Alalshikh, who has changed the dynamics of boxing in recent years and played a big role in bringing the sport back into the spotlight, does not seem interested in meeting Alvarez's demands. Despite Alalshikh's influence in boxing, Canelo is not willing to follow his lead, and Alalshikh feels the same way. In his latest move, Alalshikh has stepped forward to shut down Alvarez's request.
Biggest fight possible in boxing, is that something you'd actually be interested in?
You know, it's crazy when you asking about that because you say, your matchup is coming.
While speaking to the media, Canelo Alvarez explained why he is asking for $200 million to fight Benavidez. Obviously, he's a risk. He's a great fighter, and on fight night, he comes in 25 pounds heavier than me. It's a risk, but I don't care. If the money is right, it can happen tomorrow. However, a $200 million fee would require a massive gate for promoters to make any profit, and Turki Alalshikh understands this very well.
Payday, obviously, but I don't want that fight. I think Teofimo deserves more than me.
He's the king I want.
Responding on his X handle to dismiss Canelo Alvarez's demand, Turki Alalshikh said, "I heard Canelo said that he respects me but doesn't like the way we do business. As for him respecting me, it doesn't matter to me if he does or not. As for the way I do business, I know why he doesn't like it. Because I only focus on big fights at fair prices. So of course anyone who prefers easy fights won't like that." That's not all. Alalshikh even questioned Alvarez's ability as a fighter. He said, "Canelo's looking for easy fights, and I know how he feels after losing to Bivol, so he's been looking for easier fights ever since. Also, I'm not the one afraid of fighting Benavidez or Crawford. I knew he was wasting our time by demanding huge amounts of money that can't be paid. So I'm continuing my work to make big fights that benefit boxing, while he's focused on easy, show-only fights."
40 right now.
Yeah.
Turkey has said that he's not interested in the fight anymore. What's your reaction or your response to that?
The situation must be disappointing for Terence Crawford, who saw a fight against Canelo Alvarez as the biggest of his career and his highest payday. Crawford was open to a showdown with the Mexican star if a good offer was made. "You know what they say, if the money's right, we've got to fight," he said, ringside.
It was no different from 147, to be honest. Israel just was a strong opponent, and we knew that coming in the gate.
Crawford said. But at the same time, he's got a fight he was focused on with his last opponent. "I'm going to go back to my family, relax, enjoy this win, and appreciate my accomplishments in boxing." When asked again about a fight with Canelo, Crawford added,
The right hand wasn't bothering me. I wasn't really too much worried about the right hand. He landed a couple of times at the end of the round where he was trying to steal it around.
Crawford said, "It's not so important to me. It's just another milestone towards greatness and financial success." But before Alvarez's talks with Crawford, he and Turki Alalshikh had already clashed. Their feud started months ago when Alalshikh, the key figure behind the Riyadh Season movement and the man responsible for bringing new energy to boxing, shared an update on social media.
Like Alalshikh say that he sent you an offer, possibly to face Crawford for coming up here. Is that true, or what happened with that?
No, I don't have any offer. And look, I'm 100% focused on this fight, and then we'll see.
Alalshikh talked about his plans to keep hosting boxing events in the U.S. and shared updates on the top fighters he has worked with in recent years. Most notably, he called out Canelo about a fight with Crawford, but it seems Canelo is no longer interested. Crawford has expressed his desire to fight Canelo, calling it a legacy fight that could secure generational wealth. Alalshikh had publicly stated his intention to make the fight happen.
I said to him, "We will send you 2 gloves if you want to play in Saudi Arabia. That's it." But he said to me, "Send to me 2 Ferrari."
Canelo was asked how much he would want to fight Crawford, and he told a reporter $150 million. It's unclear if he was serious or just posturing, and it's also unknown if this demand made Alalshikh step away from arranging the fight. At that time, the fight seemed dead, but in boxing, nothing is ever truly off the table. If both sides really want it, it can still happen. Besides Crawford, the biggest fight for Canelo right now is arguably against Benavidez, a volume puncher who poses the biggest threat to the Mexican star.
Real champion is up 168ers. Now just give me the fight that we all want to see. Who wants to see David Benavidez versus Canelo? That's what you guys want to see?
Speaking to ESPN about a possible fight with Canelo, Benavidez said the reason this fight isn't happening is simple. Canelo doesn't want it, the money is there, the fans want it, and it would be an amazing event. However, the 27-year-old will have to wait for his shot at undisputed glory. He also shared his thoughts on Canelo when he was set to face Munguia, advising that Munguia should throw combinations and move outside to avoid getting hit. Benavidez believes fighting Canelo on the inside is a mistake, since that's where he is strongest. When asked if Munguia could beat Canelo, Benavidez told the Shanzid YouTube channel, "I think so, but it won't be an easy fight."
Yeah, I think so. I don't think it's going to be an easy fight. Munguia, he's a strong fighter. He's a combination puncher. And if you see the fighters that give Canelo problems, are the combination puncher.
Benavidez described Munguia as a strong fighter and a combination puncher, noting that Canelo struggles against fighters with that style. He advised Munguia to be careful and avoid taking too much damage from Alvarez. The only thing he has to do is keep his distance. He can't fight on the inside against Canelo because that's where Canelo is strongest. He loves throwing body shots and will find you, so he has to keep his distance, punch in combinations, and get away, Benavidez explained.
Canelo, because that's what Canelo thrives at. He loves throwing those body shots, and he will find it. So he has to keep distance, punching combinations, and get out the way. If he doesn't have to be there, then don't be there. Don't receive unnecessary.
Benavidez said that if Munguia can avoid Canelo's punches, it will wear Alvarez down over the fight. He also praised Munguia's punching power, advising him to avoid unnecessary punishment. If he doesn't need to be there, then don't stay and take damage, he said. Benavidez, who has studied Canelo for a long time, believes he has a solid game plan. If he can follow it, it's going to be a tough fight. He can punch hard, and you saw that when he fought John Ryder. His power is real. It's going to be interesting, and I don't think it will be as easy as some people say. He's a tough fighter, he does get hit a lot, but in boxing, sometimes that's just inevitable.
Munguia's able to do that, and it's going to be a tough fight. Because Munguia could crack, too. Munguia could crack. You can see that when he fought John Ryder. He's power punch. He could crack. So it's going to be interesting. I don't think it's going to be easy, like how people say it is. Munguia is a tough fighter. He's Mexican blood. He's a warrior. So it's going to be a good fight.
David Benavidez seems to have accepted that a fight with Canelo Alvarez may not happen and has instead welcomed Canelo's fight with Jaime Munguia. Despite his efforts to be seen as a serious challenger, Canelo has remained firm in his stance, leaving Benavidez without the fight he wanted. Recently, Benavidez has shifted his focus to new challenges in the light heavyweight division. He has confirmed his next fight at 175 pounds against Ukrainian Oleksandr Gvozdek, scheduled for June. Even though he was named the WBC super middleweight mandatory challenger last year, this allowed Canelo to avoid facing him without risking his title. Benavidez, who has struggled to secure a fight with Canelo, has started looking at other options. The fight became even harder to make after Benavidez demanded a massive $150 million purse for serious negotiations. Another challenge is that Benavidez holds several advantages. He is 6 years younger, 6 inches taller, has a 4-inch longer reach, and is naturally bigger, faster, and more explosive. To ease Canelo's concerns, Benavidez has recently expressed his willingness to include a rehydration clause in the contract.
They're gonna say, oh, they put me that clause, so nothing to do with that fight.
Alvarez doesn't see any benefit in adding a rehydration clause against Benavidez. He believes it would only lead to excuses after the fight. Yeah, a rehydration clause is a lose-lose situation because after the fight, they'll say it was because of that. Then what? When I beat him, they'll blame the clause instead of giving me credit, Alvarez said in an interview from his training camp near Lake Tahoe, California.
You're in a lose-lose situation too.
Yeah, It's a lose-lose situation because, after the fight, they're gonna talk because of this.
Alvarez believes that, much like Ryan Garcia blamed his 136-pound catchweight and 10-pound rehydration clause for his knockout loss to Gervonta Davis, a similar excuse would be made if he defeats Benavidez. Alvarez is no stranger to weight clauses in big fights. When he fought Floyd Mayweather Jr. in 2013, he was the WBC and WBA 154-pound champion, but had to agree to a 152-pound catchweight. Mayweather initially wanted the fight at 147 or 150 pounds before settling at 152. On fight night, Alvarez weighed 165 pounds, while Mayweather weighed in at 150.5 and fought at 150 pounds.
Yeah. It's a lose-lose situation because, you know, they're gonna, after the fight, they're gonna talk out because of this.
Alvarez experienced his first career loss on the night he fought Mayweather, which is why he isn't in favor of such clauses. Meanwhile, David Benavidez believes he knows why Canelo is avoiding him. Last month, it was announced that Benavidez would move up in weight to fight Alexander Govachik for the interim WBC 175-pound title after failing to secure a fight against Canelo, the 168-pound champion. Speaking at a press conference in Miami, Benavidez explained his decision, saying he had been the #1 contender for 3 years but never got the opportunity. He got tired of waiting and decided to move up to give fans the best fights, since Canelo didn't want to face him.
I'm not scared of nobody. I've hurt everybody that's been in front of me, and Canelo's no different. And I will hurt him too, and I'll take all his belts. It's crazy that he asked for $150 million or $2.
Benavidez believes Canelo doesn't want to fight him because he knows he will lose. He said Canelo understands that he is younger, stronger, and faster, which is why he avoids the fight. Despite being 6 years younger than the undisputed champion, Benavidez has rarely spoken respectfully about his rival. This could lead Canelo to break one of the unwritten rules of his dominant career. The tension and war of words between Canelo and Benavidez started unintentionally, but have only grown stronger over time.
The WBC has ordered Canelo to fight you next if you win this. So if you do win, would you force the WBC to strip Canelo if he doesn't fight you?
Canelo talked about the fight between his former opponent, WBA light heavyweight champion Dimitri Bivol, and Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez. He told USA Today that if Zurdo won, he wouldn't want to fight him because he represents Mexico and doesn't want to face fellow Mexicans. Canelo believes Zurdo had a chance and wanted him to win. However, his comments became irrelevant as Bivol dominated Ramirez in Abu Dhabi last November, winning by a wide unanimous decision.
Career, if I don't mean anything. Maybe after he gets that money, he could buy himself a pair of balls. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, the people I'm getting frustrated, I just want to fight the best. I've earned my title.
Benavidez responded to Canelo's comments, saying he feels both Mexican and Ecuadorian but was born in the US. He believes Canelo was only referring to fighters from Mexico. Benavidez mentioned that he also faces criticism from people who say he's not fully Mexican. He questioned Canelo's stance, pointing out that he holds the WBC interim belt and has earned his spot by winning 2 title eliminators. He argued that rankings exist for a reason, and it's not his fault that other fighters don't want to face him. Frustrated with the situation, he added that constant talk without action makes everyone look bad and that the pressure is mounting on these fighters.
I've been a vicious champion for a long, long time, and you know, I've won my shots. You know, I've earned my respect. Now the only thing that's keeping me from being champion is Canelo. You know, he does.
Benavidez mentioned fighters like Jamal Charlo, David Morrell, and Caleb Plant, but his words definitely caught Canelo's attention. When asked about a possible fight with Benavidez after his dominant win over Golovkin, Canelo responded by saying anything could happen. He explained that when he says he doesn't want to fight Mexicans, it's because he represents Mexico, but in the end, he doesn't care and will fight anyone as he always has.
I don't want to fight Mexican is because I represent Mexico. And that's why. But I don't care. I fight anybody. And I fight all my entire life, anybody. What do you think?
Canelo fought several fellow Mexicans early in his career, but at the world level, he has faced them less often. What do you think about David Benavidez training Terence Crawford for his fight against Canelo? Will it distract him from his own fight against David Morrell? What are your predictions for both fights? Crawford versus Canelo and Benavidez versus Morrell. Share your thoughts in the comments. That's all for now. For the best updates on boxing news, events, and big moments, stay connected by subscribing to our YouTube channel and turning on notifications so you never miss out. Until next time, peace out.